Hello guys, this is Javed Hussain. One more time, I promise to make videos on different topics, and here I am with my second video in this series. And so the topic for today is called point of view. POV. What is POV? This it is basically it is a lens through which a story is told or an event is perceived. It refers to the perspective from which the narrator or the speaker relates the story, experience, or information. Point of view shapes not only what the audience knows but also how they feel about the events, characters, and the world being presented. It is a fundamental aspect of storytelling in the literature and other forms of narrative art, playing a critical role in how a narrative is constructed and received. There are different kinds of points of view, several common types, each offering distinct advantages, challenges, depending on the writer's intent and the kind of story being told. The first one is the point of view of the first person. In first person point of view, the narrator is a character within the story and tells the story from their personal perspective using the pronoun I or we. The reader experiences the story directly through the narrator's thoughts, feelings, and observations, which gives an intimate understanding of their personal experiences. The advantages of the first person point of view are it provides a deep emotional connection with the narrator, offers authenticity as the story is told directly from one character's personal experience, creates immediacy as the reader follows the narrator's thought processes and interpretations in real time. But there are limitations in the first person point of view. The limitations are limited to what the narrator knows or perceives. The reader only gets one perspective. If the narrator is unreliable, biased, or deceptive, it can skew the reader's understanding of the truth. An example of it is like I was never one for adventures, but that summer I found myself swept up in an unexpected journey that changed everything. This is first person perspective point of view. Now comes the second person point of view. Second person point of view addresses the reader as another character directly using the pronoun you. The POV is less commonly used in traditional storytelling but can create a unique immersive experience, placing the reader directly into the narrative. The advantages of second person POV are it creates a highly engaging and immersive experience by directly involving the reader, can be very effective in instructional text, interactive fiction, or certain experimental forms of storytelling. But there are limitations here also. It is difficult to maintain in long narratives without feeling forced or awkward. Can be alienating if the reader does not identify with the actions or experiences described. For example, you step into the room, your heart pounding, unsure of what you will find. So this is an example of it. Now comes the third person point of view. In third person POV, the narrator exists outside the story and refers to characters by their names or pronouns such as he, she, they, or it. There are multiple subtypes of third person POV, each offering different degrees of insight into the character's inner worlds. The advantages of third person point of view are it offers a comprehensive view of the narrative, of allowing the reader to understand multiple characters, viewpoints, and motivations. It provides flexibility for the narrator to describe events from different angles and offer a more global perspective of the story. But here also the limitations are there. It can distance the reader from individual characters as the narrative voice is detached. If not handled carefully, omniscient POV can result in too much information overwhelming the reader. An example of it, as Maria wandered through the streets, unaware that Jack was watching her from the corner, the storm clouds gathered above, signaling a change neither of them could foresee. The third person limited, the narrator still tells the story from the outside but focuses on experiences, thoughts, and emotions of one particular character. The reader sees and understands events only through the lens of that character, though the narrator remains distinct. The limitations here limited. It is limited to the knowledge and experiences of the chosen character. The reader cannot access the thoughts or motivations of other characters unless they are inferred. An example of it, John watched her from across the room, wondering if she felt the same nervous excitement that was coursing through him. The third person objective is, in this type of third person POV, the narrator does not have access to any character's internal thoughts or feelings. The story is told as if the narrator is an unbiased observer describing only observable actions and dialogue. Now, the advantages here are it provides an objective and neutral narrative voice, allowing readers to draw their own conclusions based on the character's actions and dialogue. Often it creates suspense as the reader is left to interpret motives and emotions without direct guidance from the narrator. The limitations here, it lacks emotional depth and internal thoughts and feelings are not revealed. It can feel distant or impersonal if the reader desires a closer connection to the characters. Example here, she turned her head towards the window, her hands trembling slightly. He did not move, but his eyes followed her every motion. Now, after going through these three types of points of views, now comes the question of choosing the right point of view. Selecting the appropriate point of view for a story depends upon several factors, including the nature of the narrative, the emotional depth desired, and the kind of connection the writer wants to establish with the reader. So, the intimacy with the character. If the goal is to create a deep emotional bond between the reader and the protagonist, a first person or third person limited POV might be the best choice. These POVs allow readers to experience the character's thoughts and emotions closely. Third person omniscient provides less intimacy but allows for a broader understanding of the world and multiple characters' perspectives. The complexity of the narrative. Third person omniscient works well for stories with large casts of characters, complex plots, or epic scopes as it allows the narrator to move freely between different characters and events. First person and third person POVs work better for stories centered around the growth, transformation, or internal conflict of a single character. Tone and style. Second person point of view can be used to create an experimental or unconventional narrative style, especially in works that aim to directly involve or challenge the reader. third person objective can work well in stories that require an understated, detached tone, especially in genres like journalism or minimalist fiction. The suspense and mystery. To create mystery or suspense, limiting the reader's knowledge by using first person or third person limited POV can be very effective. Readers can readers from learn information as the character does keep them guessing about the motivations of other characters or future events. Now comes the narrative reliability. POV also affects the reliability of the narrator. Some narrators, especially in first person narratives, may be unreliable, meaning their account of events may be biased, skewed, or incomplete. This technique is often used to create suspense, surprise, or deeper psychological complexity in a story. Unreliable narrator. The narrator may intentionally deceive the reader or maybe deceive themselves, leaving the audience to question what is real. This can add layers of complexity to the narrative as the truth slowly unravels. An example of it, the classic novel The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger features Holden Caulfield, who tells the story through his first person perspective, yet his emotional instability and skewed worldwide view make him an unreliable narrator. The point of view in film, point of view can be expressed through the camera's lens, framing, and positioning. The audience sees the events through the perspective chosen by the director. A subjective camera mimics a first person perspective, while a more traditional objective camera operates from a third person perspective, showing events as they unfold without driving into any character's personal point of view. And now comes the conclusion. The point of view is a very powerful narrative tool that shapes the way stories are told, how characters are developed, and how audiences engage with the material. Be carefully selecting a point of view. A writer or a storyteller can control the emotional distance, the depth of insight into characters, and the narrative complexity. Whether it's the close and personal connection of a first person narrative or the expansive scope of third person omniscient, POV fundamentally influences how stories are experienced and understood. Understanding the nuances of each type of POV allows storytellers to craft narratives that resonate deeply and authentically with their audience. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is my narrative on the subject point of view. Maybe it's a little bit too heady, but try to understand what I'm trying to tell you. So now I conclude my video on point of view. Kindly have a look on my YouTube channel, like and share my this video. As I said in my last video, kindly comment on it on what subjects you want the narratives or the video which you want the next video or the next video or the next video after that. So I'll keep on sharing videos with you, one video a day on different topics. So kindly like them, share them as much as possible, and subscribe to my channel. The link is there in the bio. Kindly have a look and do the needful. So this is Javed Hussain once again signing off from here. And good evening, good night, good morning, in whatever time zones you are. Have a nice day. Thank you very much.